ụmụ tichara m ma vidiyo ma ọ dị akụnụọnụ tụrụ ka
burst upon the scene with a force that surprised even the most optimistic. The Asian tigers, as they were then known, moved from poverty to relative prosperity, burst upon a platform of export-led growth, surprised even powered by rapid industrialization, hinged on light manufacturing and foreign direct investments, especially from transnational poverty to relative prosperity, burst upon a platform since the 2000s, surprised even no nation or group of countries have achieved such phenomenal and rapid transformation as the Southeast Asian economies. Move from poverty. There's a strong sentiment, though, this time for another miracle. No nation or group of countries have achieved Africa such phenomenal
My
and
friend,
rapid
my friend Bado
transformation
Tobi said
as the
something.
Southeast
Most
Asian
cynical that I am. He said, I don't know whether you remember. He said, you know, if you
There's
see
a strong
Nigeria,
sentiment, though,
one man said,
oh boy, it's time
our governor
for another
has
miracle.
done
No nation or group of countries
50 kilometers of road in the last 4 years. My friend Bado friend will say, most cynical that I am. 50 kilometers. I don't know whether you remember. Say, you know, where we see 10 kilometers. So, you know, the comparison, people are showing all the work they're doing, all the kilometers of road. And I say, you guys don't understand what democracy is. Because if democracy were just about highways and buildings, and so on, and guess what? You know, if you happen to
societies that are considered civilized, whenever a society is considered civilized, is in some senses an affirmation of its movement away from the animal state or from the animal kingdom. And societies that are considered not so civilized just indicates that they are closer societies that are to considered civilized to the animal state. So the reality is that human dignity is what makes us different from animals. Human dignity is what separates us. But extreme poverty is the most poignant indicator of the absence of human dignity. Extreme poverty, and I'm sure that most of us have either experienced it or seen it firsthand. Human dignity is what separates us. But extreme poverty is the most poignant indicator of the absence of human dignity. Extreme poverty, and I'm sure that most of us have either experienced it or seen it firsthand. Human dignity is what separates us. But extreme poverty is the most poignant indicator of the absence of human dignity. Extreme poverty, and I'm sure that most of us have either experienced it or seen it firsthand. Human dignity is what separates us. But extreme poverty is the most poignant indicator of the absence of human dignity. Extreme poverty, and I'm sure that most of us have either experienced it or seen it first. Human dignity is what separates us. But extreme poverty is the most poignant
Start video.
For your own. Everybody will have a long. You got the other line direction. Louis, Abbas. You are the
What's the team? Start video.
Good afternoon.
Start video.
Mike.
Yes, how
I
are you? I'm
salute
not
you.
late. Oh, thanks. How are you? You're going off again. I'm not hearing anything at all.
Like to apologize for the internet that is working so poorly. Let me begin by acknowledging that some of our panelists have yet to join us, but we have to begin, and let's begin in thanking you all for joining us on this first of the Nigeria History Series for 2023. And we begin with a very important subject matter, one that is causing much lamentation across the land. And this is the subject of security. Challenge from very many perspectives regarding security. We're challenged by security of the nature of physical violence, which you see manifested in what is literally a rolling civil war in states of a country like Zamfara, even Katsina, not to talk of the Northeast, that has been engulfed in security for a good part of a decade, in its security issues, good part of a decade. We have the problems in the Southeast and the problems that used to exist more significantly in the South-South. But we also have quite a bit of kidnappings, and such other forms of insecurity that make for even poor food security. We have challenges of food security because many people can't go to their farms. And so the harvest, which should have been plentiful, is poor. It will be interesting to get to the heart of the difficulties with security issues, especially, as I like to say, going back many years when Robert Kaplan published a book, The Coming Anarchy. And The Coming Anarchy is essentially a projection that, given certain cleavages that we are evolving, religious cleavages, economic cleavages, ethnic cleavages, that we could descend into anarchy, and that anarchy could actually bring down the entire sub-region of West Africa. Now, that was an analysis by an American from back 1999. And we have come to see most of his prediction actually become real. There are many who remember that the same Robert Kaplan had written a book titled Balkan Ghosts and predicted that if and when Tito passed, the Balkans will descend into the kind of chaos that made us glued to our television, watching CNN, in Srebrenica, and all kinds of places for years. That same person wrote The Coming Anarchy, projecting where Nigeria was going. And so the great big question is, how did we see all of this, and why could we not stop it? What are the parameters that have affected how we see security in Nigeria, and what could or should have been done about this? Let me begin from Sir Michael Kiro, who was the Inspector General of Police, to ask him what he thinks went awry that has led us to the situation where we are today. So, Mike, please, your perspective.
Yeah, this today, I wrote to say about Popular and all the predictions about security in Africa, West Africa, especially the South Africa, this region. Nigeria is a leading partner, leading country in West Africa. Coming to think are the causes of insecurity in Nigeria. What if we look at the world globally? Nigeria is, you see this in the communications. Nigeria is an African country and also one of the countries in West Africa. Right, globally, it's a global about insecurity all over the world. Be it Asia, Europe, America, mention it. Gravity all over the world. And we cannot live in isolation. When it touches the eye, the nose will feel it. That is what the world is. The world is a village. So we do expect that what happens to other parts of the country, parts of the world, will find a way into Nigeria too. But we ought to have taken preventive actions and saw things, meaning that one day, this security that is now in America with Nigeria too. So we look at the cause of security all over the world: economic, it could be religious, it could be the domination by certain group in a certain place, it could be primordial actions about what happens in the region. So Nigeria can live that because Nigeria, you have a lot of all these things present. You have a lot of ethnic relations, religions. You have people, economic people want to have economic domination of the country and this or that. So you know that Nigeria cannot be alone. But we should have taken proper action, preemptive action against this, knowing that one day. Let me take a little bit backwards. That memory lane. When I was Special Police, I was appointed to Special Police June 2007. But I looked at the scenario all over the world. I looked at the countries around Nigeria. I looked at Libya, Sudan, looked at Chad. I saw that those countries were in turmoil, violent turmoil. And I knew and I predicted correctly, one day terrorism comes to Nigeria. We need to take preventive actions against such devilish actions when it comes to Nigeria. So by November 2007, formed the police anti-terrorist squad. Got them trained, I trained them in South Africa, Egypt, Israel, and Spain. These are countries that at that time had running battle and history of terrorism. And I opened a terrorist anti-school in Nonwa River State to reduce the cost of the men abroad. Incidentally, some people felt I was doing the right thing. Somebody mentioned that Okuro established a terrorist squad in Nigeria that equip people and kill them as terrorists. So there are two newspapers wrote it too. They said there was no terrorism in Nigeria. And the fact that the IG was with terrorism school in Nigeria will give praise of Nigeria state where there was no terrorism in Nigeria. So I had to call the press conference to defend myself. And I said, right now, there's no terrorism in Nigeria, but I'm going to take preventive action in case it comes. Police officers will know what to do. Unfortunately, because of this, the government, what happened in the budget to equip the police anti-terrorist squad, the government did it. So now when it came to Nigeria, I left the police at July 2007, 2009. By September, Boko Haram struck Maiduguri. Hello? Hello?
Apologies for the internet challenges.
I think.
Can you hear me?
Hello? I can hear me too. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah,
Yes, I can hear you. I can
Can you hear
hear
me
you.
now? Good.
Yes, I
Yes,
can
I
hear
can
you.
hear you.
So that is since
Okay.
the mistake already been made, we are now besieged and lingered by all sorts of terrorist activities from northeast to northwest to all part of Nigeria now having terrorist actions against them. So we have to really sit down, go down to a round table and discuss on how to tackle this issue of terrorism. It cannot be tackled only on the battlefield. We have to have intelligence. The battlefield have to be equipped. You have to be equipped to be 2 or 3 steps ahead of the terrorists, ahead of it. Because the insurgents are carrying out a group warfare kind of. So the agencies that are going to confront them will be well trained, well equipped to be ahead of them. So let me stop. Meanwhile, we'll listen to Prof.
Thank you so very much. I was going to ask about structure of the security agencies, how they interrelate, and what this has as the effect on how secure we are. Now, very often people will say to you that the bigger challenge that we have and that is not available to the institutions is the reason why we seem to have such significant gaps in our security apparatus. What is lacking in the collaboration between securities? How can that be remedied, and what consequences do you think that does have on how secure we are?
Is that for me?
Yeah.
Hello? Okay. I'm very well. Hello? Hello?
Hello, sir. We can hear you.
Okay.
And how
I was just,
this structure, in your view, affects performance, the relationships, and how they relate the agencies? Who supplies
is that for me?
intelligence? How do we ensure that the intelligence is right? Yes, for you, Sir Mike, yeah.
Yeah. You see, security is a collective responsibility, not an exclusive preserve any particular agency. It's for everybody. Even people who are not security agencies are supposed to contribute to the fight against security, against agency in the country. Talking about intelligence, right? One agency who deals with intelligence, but that should not leave them alone. It should pass the from one agency to another, from members of the public. They have information passed relevant agencies that have to do that thing in particular. I was there. I made this request. I said a situation where, let me give an example, which I gave that time. A situation where the asset operates in Mubi gets an information. It passes the director, the director to the DG in Abuja, who passes on to the NSA, to the IG, passes on to the officer. A week is gone. They have been done. I recommend that should be a senior among the security agencies in the case that If it would be an information, pass it to the DPO before passing. So while they are waiting for information to down today, let's say, and the people on the ground should take action. This is what we're lacking now. The agency is working independently. Each agency want to carry the oh, I have that information. I did that. No, Nigeria one. Security affects everybody in Nigeria. So people work collaboratively, push work together, and ensure that the information passes everywhere. If police get information, DPO gets information, and it's done even to the brigade commander, they should work together, not to wait until the matter goes to Abuja. Then Abuja gives directive before the certification. No. This collaboration in terms of information, in terms of intelligence bedrock of fight against security in the country. So the information, the intelligence should go right from the grassroots is up. Hello. Hello. Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
I can hear you. Please, sorry, please go ahead.
I hear you.
Okay, I was just saying that there's a synergy among the security agencies in the area of intelligence and information. That if they move right from the grassroots, collaboration and cooperation among the operatives, the grassroots level, the DPOs, the men on the grassroots level, they work together in an environment, the community. That will help them to alleviate sufferings that the public is going through because of insecurity. Okay.
All right. I'm trying to find some of our other panelists to respond to these issues, but I'm having some difficulty in finding them. But if I may, just while I'm trying to get all of that done, Sir Mike, move this in the direction of solutions. And one of the solutions that has been suggested is decentralizing, say, the policing function. In many parts of the world, policing is seen as the most local of functions. During the time of IG Balogun, I participated in a conference on community policing hosted by the Nigerian Police Force in Abuja through CLEAN, the late Innocent Chukuma. And I recalled making a point at that meeting that when I lived in the United States of America, my university had a police force. The small town in which it was located had a police force of its own, all fully capable, arms, motorized, everything. The county within which the town was located had its own police force. The state had its own police force in addition to state troopers, National Guard troopers that were available to the command of the governor. And then, of course, if any issue was a civil rights issue, it automatically was a matter for the Federal Bureau of Investigations. But in Nigeria, the police force seems to be so concentrated. Why do you think we have persisted with a central police force idea? Especially if you bear in mind that Okay, go ahead, please.
Yeah, the issue of community policing is very germane. Community policing gets everybody involved in the community. The community policing
That's a different thing. It's a different thing.
So please unmute yourself.
hello.
Yes, we can hear you now.
You can hear me. We had last. Just about to say that 1993, when we went for a course, we toured America for 30 days. We were told that America that 400 police America. It's because in America you can go for firearms license. So and it can people to take up the security for them. Courts have their own, counties have their own, everybody free. Every community is free in America to have their own forces, but not in Nigeria. Nigeria is not one police force. Section 214 of the says there's one police in Nigeria called Nigeria Police, the police Nigeria called Nigeria Police. This is because from history of police in Nigeria, he found out in the 60s, what northern every region had its police force, even local government had their own police forces, but it was abused because politicians used them. That the Operation Wait in 1965 in the West. So the police were being used by politicians. That's what made General Gowon, either 1971 or 74, to have one police force in the Constitution 1999. Of course, it can be changed. What I feel that because of the history, the dangerous history, which the decisions of various police forces brought into Nigeria, made this the condition to make one police force in Nigeria. So because they know what's happening in the state, for example, if you have commissioners of police under some certain governors in Nigeria, opposition will not there. They shout and make sure there's no position, and they use the police against the opposition. That is the rationale behind having one police force in Nigeria. But that does not community policing. Community policing is everybody plays a role in the security of the community, vis-a-vis the job of policing, major and everything. Thank you. Hello? Hello?
Thank
Yes,
you,
we
Mr.
can hear
Mike.
you.
The issue that has been raised regarding that point is that even in America, the police was used by local authorities during the civil rights struggle when blacks were being suppressed. Still, Americans didn't say let's cancel local policing because of it. Instead, they ensured that if any issue was a rights issue, it would be a federal issue.
Hi, Musu. Well, hi, welcome. How are you? Thank you.
So, how do we make policing local
At the same time,
and get the advantage of it without losing the because we are afraid politicians to use? How do we find a kind of creative solution that the Americans found in making civil rights issues Federal Bureau of Investigation issues? And so you still have local police, where every policeman literally lives on the street around where so he knows the thieves in the neighborhood, he knows the old information, and these are the things that make policing so effective and so local. How do we creatively deal with the problems we've had in the past?
Can I ask a
go to
question,
that?
please? Can I ask a question, please, before Sir Mike Okiro can, answer? Can I ask something?
Go ahead.
Okay. I have a small contribution, and that is that right now, Nigeria has a crying problem. The problem of the expanded role of the Nigerian army in the dispensation of purely policing roles in the country is a problem. In the last few years, you can see that the Nigerian army has assumed an unwieldy role, very, very unwieldy role in so many things. They appear in several places. In fact, sometimes you see them shooting from helicopters at villages because of the so-called terrorism and insecurity. So the Nigerian army has eroded a lot of the normal policing functions. To begin to recover the real organic role of the Nigerian police, of a police service, this problem of the military incursion into police roles has to be addressed. And I would like Sir Okiro to possibly say one or two things about this. Thank you.
All right. Okay, before I'm to that, let me talk about the issue of police forces in the country. Prof has mentioned the fact that police was misused in America in those days. The term of does not fact that America has forces. Nigeria cannot be there. When a problem comes up, you have to look for a solution. I remember the Police Service Commission. I made a proposal to the government. I called it national police. We have seen geographical zones in Nigeria. So I was proposing that the judges to go to the zones and head police forces in those zones. Like Northwest, for example. We have 6 states in the Northwest. So,
what it is comes to mind is if we're having difficulty in terms of making staff
remuneration as part of regional level, and I will simply go regional organizations as comparators to pay because I'm focused on that level.
Hello? Hello?
I need to talk.
Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. I said when I was some police officer committee, I made a proposal to government. And I said, instead of people come to police, let us have zonal police forces. You have to prepare to Nigeria. And hello?
Yeah, I can hear you, Sir Mike.
I think that the interruption, so the zones we have people from that recruit for that area in that zone. So somebody comes from Zamfara to Sokoto, from Sokoto, maybe he knows the culture, language, and the people. So they can be there. Within this, you can be posted within the zone where it is a certain rank, like AC, you can leave the zone to another zone. You see, it's still under the same Nigerian police force. Now, at the police headquarters, you have the IG, as the 2IC, case away, have AIGs, the department of police force. So the police, though is now is a federal police, but people are rather inclined to the just more zone where the I say to say to get some the constable from push him to Bayelsa and push him to one of the cannot him. You know, it don't know it cannot be effective. That was my projector. You can, instead of having, and if you do that, that reduce the clamor and agitation for state police. That's my recommendation I was saying to government. And I said the best of the police should be 7. This part goes to zonal police. The 7th part will be head by the IG, who will now oversee the entire country. That some issues that are some investigations that in FBI America that the state issues that you can move from Sokoto to Maiduguri, from Maiduguri to Calabar to Port Harcourt like that. Such matters should be left to the IG's office and the first CIG to handle. With that, the clamor for police to go there, and there'll be more efficiency because people are now working among their people. They're working among their community, whether they understand the language or they understand the culture and know the people. You know, that. So, talking about the role of the military, I think it is there the army the military can assist the political agents in handling domestic issues within the country, right? So, unfortunately, the military are gone so because the police, no equipment, and even the manpower is not there. The manpower is not there. If there's no manpower, have to go to military for instance, because the people will be protected. So because of equipment, there's nothing wrong in the military. Police fails, but police should not fail because police is an agency saddled with internal security. They play the prime role in internal security. The government should equip the police very well. The police are only coming with an external aggression, or with an unauthorized insurrection in the country. The military coming. But the common criminality, the military coming at all. If the police well funded, equipped.
So, Mike, one of the reasons that we started this year with security is that we have for the CVL annual lecture, which is on the 6th of February, security and development security development and progress in Nigeria. And we have quite an array of speakers. The chair is President Goodluck Jonathan, who will share significantly on his experience with the insecurity that burst out during his tenure. We have a foreign speaker who was a senior American military or Marine officer in the U.S. Africa High Command. And we have a West African former head of state, amongst others, who will be on this panel. We'll talk about energy security, food security, and all of those security-related terms. And we wanted this to be a kind of simulator for issues that will come up. And we're fortunate to have an academic, Professor Chilaka, who is in this conversation. So as we move towards this grand conversation of the 6th of February on security, which has significantly crippled Nigeria's economic possibilities, social situation, and even migration, because people have been dislocated significantly by these security issues. I myself, I was at the African Union Conference on Security, Peace and Development in Morocco just a few months ago, 2 months or so ago, in November, I think. And so we'd like to get perspectives on why Nigeria is security challenged from outside, and would like to get a perspective perhaps from him before we move back to some of our expected contributors. Kindly unmute yourself.
Yeah. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you, Prof. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. As I was explaining to Joseph when he raised this meeting, my area mainly is maritime security. Maritime security, where I've done some work, research on the activities of pirates and insecurity in the maritime terrain, which is very, very major. It is very, very major because Nigeria, the potential of Nigeria is heavily anchored by maritime capacities. So when there are challenges, when there are handicaps in the delivery of services or in the delivery of trade, vis-a-vis Nigerian maritime trade, it amounts to quite a lot of loss. In fact, as we all know, today, trawling business in Nigeria is almost down to zero because of maritime insecurity. And that takes a lot because it wipes out a huge quantum of forex earning that should have come from that sector. That is one. Secondly, you have the general issue of piracy, maritime insecurity, which used to be very, very high. In fact, in Nigerian trade, we used to have what we call marine war insurance. War insurance is added as a percentage to all charter parties coming to Nigeria because of insecurity. Right now is less because of the success of SPOMO, the Sea Piracy and Other Maritime Offences Act, which they managed eventually to get to work, and quite a few pirates were now, taken to court, sent to prison. So that aspect is getting heavily under control now, maritime security. So those are the aspects. Right now, we can see all the emphasis on blue economy, blue economy. You have to understand that is all about security as well. Blue economy is nothing but what NIMASA has spent billions of naira, if not dollars, on to acquire enforcement issues, to acquire armaments, to acquire a lot of military hardware, and to emplace formations, military formations on marine platforms, to attack insecurity issues in the maritime terrain. So that's blue economy. And right now, a lot of it, Nigeria has, spent quite a lot in that area, maritime sector. So it's a very, very huge aspect of maritime insecurity that we are battling with. And all this, if you ask my opinion, what is the genesis? The genesis of all this is poverty, mass poverty. In one of my submissions academically, in the Niger Delta, I used to say that one man's pirate is another man's freedom fighter. Why is it that in certain parts of the Niger Delta, pirates are even protected? They are protected because the host communities see these people as the only ones who can speak up for them. There is nobody who can speak up for them. There's a lot of injustice. There's a lot of lack of fair play. There's a lot of degradation, environmental degradation. Nobody speaks for them. So eventually the pirate comes out as the only reaction which the federal government can recognize. Therefore, justifying the maxim that one man's pirate is another man's freedom fighter. These are issues, deep issues that the Nigerian nationality has to eventually tackle. These are issues that we have to address. We cannot run away from it. There's a lot of social malady, social injustice. The issue of injustice has to be addressed. It is injustice that gives rise to a lot of the insecurities we are talking about, whether on land or at sea. A lot of insecurity is traced to injustice. People are unemployed. People's rights are not given to them. What belongs to people are not given to them. And so morality is pressed down. There is no biting of the conscience. The pirate feels seriously motivated to seek his own cut of the pie because he is oppressed. His people are oppressed. It is a very, very huge issue, ladies and gentlemen. And so these are the things that we have to keep in mind as we begin to address these issues. As I said, whether on land or at sea, there's a huge backlog of insecurity and lack of fair play in Nigeria. And these are the organic fields where many of these issues arise. I think I would just hold on for now. Thank you. So, Sir Okiro, I don't know, I think naturally I should, let me defer to you to hand over to you again to continue with your talk, please.
Thank you. Well, thank you indeed.
Thank you, Chilaka.
Yes, sir.
I think that we have moved the conversation in an appropriate direction by reference to maritime security. Indeed, the discussion on the 6th of February has a maritime security dimension, which is presented by Bashir Jammu.
Yes.
Who is the CEO of NIMASA. The maritime security environment has been not as desired. In fact, Nigeria began to even outrank Somalia at a point. On issues of sea piracy. They have been investing in equipment and all of that. But I think that there's plenty to be done in maritime security. And this is why the three speakers outside the keynoters, the major keynoter, of course, President Jonathan Al-Short, the U.S. General, President Kuruma from Sierra Leone, and then the three areas of discussion are maritime security with JAMO, food security, Professor Murtala Sagagi, who was advisor to the Minister of Agriculture, and then energy security, managing director of NLNG, Dr. Philip Michel. Unless we can appropriately police our territory, it has grave significance for economic performance and possibilities of progress. And this is why this is a key issue of our time. I expect that Obasanjo will also join us. He has been a keynote. I've discussed this same subject with him, and I expect that he will show up as a special guest of honor. But we must be able to construct an approach to security policy that works. I have very clear thoughts of my own, but I think that we need for the
Hello?
Happy New Year. Sorry, can you hear me here?
Yes, we can. I can hear you. I can hear you.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I can hear you.
Hello?
Yeah. So I was saying that the nature of the environment that we are in is such that perhaps the single biggest threat and an existential threat to Nigeria is the security situation. There's a catch-22 around security and development. Without security, you can't have development. Unless we have development, we can have people who can feed themselves, and then they become cannon fodder to be recruited into all kinds of courses to make trouble. And so we're caught in that trap. So it is important to have a clear national strategy. Clear national strategy on where you know, if we don't have a clear national strategy on how to manage this, we will have a situation where instead of reaping a demographic dividend from our youth, we will be thrust into a calamity of a convergence of cleavages, ethnic cleavages, religious cleavages, economic cleavages. And so clear thinking is required. And the finest amongst us need to put our thinking caps on. These thinking caps include clearly how to structure the security infrastructure, the apparatus. I personally think that we have mismanaged the relationship between the security agencies and the structure of those security agencies. I think that many times the security agencies are in competition rather than cooperation to get the goal of securing us together. I think, unfortunately, sometimes power play based on perceptions of pecuniary benefits also get in the way of us securing our country. I think motivation of personnel in the security apparatus. I mean, let's stop kidding ourselves. The army, when you corner top officers, will say to you, what do you mean that we can't secure this country? We can. The problem is we don't have leadership. You don't know what you will do that the people who have the ultimate authority don't want you to do. Maybe they're complicit even in the insecurity. Maybe it works for them. You hear that from officers. Their motivation things. Chief of Army Staff dies. The president did not show up at the funeral. The vice president did not show up at the funeral. The Minister of Defense, I don't think, showed up at the funeral. Chief of Army Staff. And he died in action, literally speaking, at work. When a retired general, Colin Powell, years after retirement dies, former presidents, current president, everybody shows up there. If you're a soldier, you will want to be a great soldier so that they will say farewell to you like that. But here, an incumbent serving Chief of Army Staff, killed in active duty, and neither the president, the vice president, the Minister of Defense shows up at his burial. How do you motivate people to work to advance the common good in that kind of environment? Then when you move to the issue and question of funding, I mean, just look at the structure of our budget. It's gut-wrenching. Then you go to policing. Policing that is effective everywhere in the world is local. We've given all kinds of excuses for a central police command. But anybody who is sensible will want to have local governments running their own vigilante services, whatever it is you should choose to call it. State governments running their own police services. Maybe on a regional basis, you can have a command where something akin to the troopers, what do they call them? I mentioned earlier in the US, National Guard. Maybe to avoid abuse of National Guard, you get a region like Southeast or Southwest. The governors jointly have command over the National Guard, and they have an approval system that does not make it easy for one person to abuse calling out the guards. But those kinds of changes need to take place in both the structure, the motivation, and the command of our security apparatus for us to get the value that will lead us to the kind of progress that we desperately need in Nigeria. And my hope is that this conversation will stimulate input into the kind of robust discussion I hope we can have on the 6th of February. And at this point, I'd like to invite any of the participants in this conversation who would like to comment on this to so do. And if you want to, please kindly raise your hand, and then you can be let in to make your comments.
Yeah, I'll comment.
Yes, Sir Mike.
Yes, I'll make a very comment on the issue or area of motivation, funding, and equipment. A situation where I have done IG. A situation where the people are not well funded, not well funded, the welfare of the officers taken into consideration, officers don't have where to sleep, homes, they have vehicles to go to work. Their salaries are not cannot go home and back like other civil servants. You cannot expect the best. You don't expect the best from civil servants. We know that civil servants are well paid, and so the agencies, security agencies are working within the same environment as you go to market, they attend the same school, data is when going to work. Find out with the welfare is not adequate. Like you mentioned it when a chief of army said that no high personality causes. Then when you think we feel the young people who are coming behind, we say it's like senior, maybe even be worse. So we're talking about welfare, talking about equipment. If the security agencies, for example, is well equipped, confront the communities. But if they're not well equipped, you see, but Nigeria or the society, hello?
Yeah, I can hear you, sorry.
Yeah, society, civilization have moved forward. In those days, there were primary schools. You used to see policemen riding bicycle with battery. We are stage. You see, the criminal take it for 7. They ride the fast cars. So for the police to meet up and catch up with them, the police supposed to be better equipped, better equipment, well paid. They can sacrifice their lives and time for the security of the country. So that goes to that. Unemployment, use. You see, a situation where a social you say that crime is the reaction of a man with on the ground. You know, so people who are to knowledge will react and to crime when they find themselves in abject poverty. They cannot make ends meet. They cannot have a daily screen. They cannot have the people dead. They go to crime. So you see, it's also part of the thing that we check energy and bring back safety in the country. If we can have an adequate program where unemployed youth can become fully employed, with reality. But if you like do everything like that, you have an array of unemployed people, seeing you riding expensive cars, they look on you as an easy target because they want to be like, unfortunately, they don't have that opportunity. So that is what I'm talking about, the structure. Okay, even the structure of the police, like you just said, can be changed over time. You cannot stick on one thing all the time. If it doesn't work, we change another one. We have this federal police. Like I mentioned, I proposed zonal police. Incidentally, the time for President Jonathan will come in on the 6th of February. He was in office when I proposed this zonal police force, zonal DIGs in their zones to president when he was in office. So look at the structure of the police as it is. Still maintaining the idea of federal structure of the police, and the police one who cannot do another structure to accommodate communities, accommodate the zonal the difference. They are effective and get us back home to where we started. Africa can give us adequate security. Then nobody said that what is the constitution demand. We can amend the constitution and have other principles if that will give us a solution to our problems. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Please, anyone who wants to make a comment is welcome to raise your hands and we'll take them. Okay, Mr. Chikenwanze, kindly unmute yourself.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think you have, I don't know, you have really hit the nail at the head. Police is local. Even in our traditional days, I would take my hometown in those days. Every village there, they know who the thief is. So whenever somebody is going out, they take the key, they call Isiafa at that time to give him. That's why we have this saying, police is local. And until we start, I don't know why, I thought, I didn't quite get Saokiro, what he was saying. The police needs to be decentralized. You have a federal police, yes, that will go into things affecting a number of states or regions. And we had local police in those days also. We have local government police. Some of the things that they are fear of that the governors or will abuse the local police or state police is the federal not abusing the federal police now. So we must tell ourselves the truth. Police is local. Policing is local. So until we start thinking about that and then restructure the police system, we're not going to solve this problem. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much. Something I'm sure that I am not always happy to say in public, but I may have to say it to just give us a sense for how this business of federal policing and abuse of local policing. One IG in my presence, joking about something, said, "Look, my friend, we in the police are just uniformed and glorified thugs of the party in power." Is that a basis for understanding the fact that federal policing is even more dangerous than native authority police in the sense of abuse that is possible? So I think that is just an excuse that we use to concentrate power. The principle of subsidiarity, moving power to the level closest to the people, is important generally, but even more important in policing. And what I suspect we should be doing is to focus our energies on how to ensure that whatever possible abuses can come out of local policing can be countered through other measures. But to use the abuse of police powers by local authorities to then prevent the most effective way of policing is like cutting your nose to spite your face. And we have seen it repeatedly pushed and bought into by an establishment that is so comfortable with concentration of power. It must be one of our major transformational positions as we go up to elections. that will bring policing down to a local function. Well, if there are no further comments, I'm going to have to move our conversation towards the close. And to thank Sir Michael Kiro very, very much for his time. Sir Mike was not only a policeman who served at all levels, all the way up to the position of IG, but served as chairman of the Police Service Commission after his tenure as IG. And so is deeply knowledgeable on the issues in the police force. We appreciate the benefit of your joining our conversation. I apologize for the snafus that we have faced today, and hope that we can get everybody to join us on the 6th of February, when we truly, from a global perspective, look at the challenge of security in Nigeria.
Thank you so much.
Have a very pleasant evening.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
That's a good. Okay,